I want to say day 20. Here we are trying a different camera technique today. And we're also starting a 5-parter again, like we did on Discovery, but this is about something that's affecting us all. This is the state of sales in 2024. So we're at the back end of June 2024, so end of H1, coming into H2, and the market is just really tough, right? Everybody's finding the market really tough. Win rates are down, deal values are down, sales cycles are up. Nobody that I'm talking to is satisfied with the level of pipeline they have. Deals they do have are just moving really, really slowly. Getting access to power continues to be really, really tough, and the sign-off process is just so much more involved than it has been in previous years. It's frustrating, right? Everybody's frustrated. Frustrated with performance, frustrated with earnings. There's, anger and envy when they see other people succeeding. I'm seeing sort of bitching and fighting over pipeline and who gets what leads and so on. Now that always goes on to a certain extent, but even more so now than before. People concerned about their jobs. I mean, there have been so many layoffs in the last 12 to 18 months. The market is flooded with candidates with lots of experience, with very high basic salaries, who come from big name, your Salesforces, your AWSs, you name a big tech company, and they've probably laid off people, and the market is awash. And a lot of these people are going to struggle to find work. The ones that do will probably find work in organizations that are smaller, that are more boutique, where maybe the brand name and the marketing spend that they've been used to before just isn't there anymore. And they're going to have to rediscover how to build their own pipeline, rediscover how to prospect, how to cold prospect, how to hard cold prospect in a depressed marketplace. They're going to need to learn to become marketeers in their own right, to build their own brands, because I think that's the one skill that every salesperson needs to have now, is they need to be a marketeer. They need to learn, at least at a very basic rudimentary level, how to be a marketeer, how to generate and create demand for themselves. Other dynamics you've got to see is as VCs kind of exit this space, you see more and more private equities coming in, and VCs are, they fund growth, right? They take 10 bets, they're looking for one to pay off. Private equity are coming in and replacing them, but they are very, very different animals. They expect profit. They expect a 5-year exit. They want to see profit numbers from day one. They will be driving costs down and pushing revenue up. They'll be looking at ratios of managers to salespeople. If you're not an individual contributor, then you're probably a cost. So those kind of headcounts will be being pushed down. If you're not an individual contributor who is performing, then you're definitely a cost. All right, so it is a really, really tough market out there. But there are still people who are performing. There are still individuals who are hitting their numbers, who are building pipeline, who are having great engagements with customers. But the game has changed, right? You cannot just blast out emails and hit the phones mindlessly and expect to pick up meetings and to get sales across the line. You need to be better. I was speaking to a CRO of a big SaaS company here in the UK last week. He's worked at a number of SaaS businesses, US and UK businesses, over the past 8 to 10 years. And one of the things he talks to his team about is, if you Google the top 10 jobs that AI will take, salespeople is up there, it's in there. So unless you are doing your job better, unless you are learning, developing, building new skills, creating real value for your customers, you're going to be out of work, my friend, and you're going to struggle to get back in, and you're going to need to retrain. It is a tough market. Having said that, there are people still performing, and those individuals are doing things differently. They are doing things better. And what I'm going to come on to talk about later in this series is what those individuals are doing, what makes them stand out, and what makes them so successful. Because there is still money to be spent. There are still organizations that have issues, that need solutions. But you can't just turn up on a call, deliver a demo, ask a few basic qualification questions, and then try and get a DocuSign across off the back of doing some feature flinging. You have to meet your customer where they are, and you have to create value. So, part 1, state of sales at the end of H1, beginning of H2 2024. Part 2 tomorrow. We're going to actually look at what that means for salespeople and what it means they're going to have to do differently.